The Discovery Commander Sarah Chen pressed her face against the viewport of the research vessel Pathfinder and stared at the impossible structure hanging in the void. After 20 years of archaeological expeditions across the galaxy, she had seen many wonders, but nothing like this. "How big did you say it was again?" Sarah asked, without taking her eyes off the massive construct. Navigator Crix clicked his mandibles nervously. The insectoid Zentauri was one of the best pilots in the Galactic Archaeological Society, but even he seemed unsettled. Approximately 15 kilometers in length, Commander, the structure appears to be constructed from materials unknown to our databases. Dr. Zephyr's crystalline form chimed softly from the science station. The Altarian's body shifted through different colors as he analyzed the data. Most intriguing, Commander Chen. The object emits no energy signatures, yet our gravitational sensors indicate it possesses significant mass. It defies several known principles of physics. Engineer Voss materialized near the main console, his energy form crackling with curiosity. The Thanaran had volunteered for this expedition specifically because of reports about ancient technologies. "I have completed my scans, Commander. The structure shows no signs of active systems, no power sources, no life support. By all measurements, it should be nothing more than space debris." Sarah finally turned away from the viewport. The structure looked like a giant crystal flower frozen in time. Its petals made of some dark material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It orbited a dead star in the Vega system, a place where nothing should exist. "But you all feel it too, don't you?" Sarah said quietly. "There's something about it that's not showing up on our instruments." The three aliens exchanged glances. It was true. Despite all their advanced technology and sophisticated sensors, there was an indefinable quality to the structure that made it feel alive, waiting. "Perhaps we should maintain a safe distance and simply observe," Dr. Zephyr suggested, his crystalline body shifting to a cautious amber color. "Ancient artifacts can be unpredictable." Sarah shook her head. "We came here to investigate. The energy readings that brought us to this system had to come from somewhere." She moved to the communications console. "I'm going to try broadcasting on all frequencies. Maybe we can establish contact." Contact Crix's compound eyes widened. "Commander, our scans show no life signs." "Sometimes life exists in ways our scanners can't detect," Sarah replied, adjusting the communication array. She had learned that lesson many times in her career. Sarah activated the transmitter and spoke clearly. "This is Commander Sarah Chen, of the Galactic Archaeological Society vessel Pathfinder. We are peaceful explorers seeking to understand your origins and purpose. Can you respond?" For several minutes, nothing happened. The bridge fell silent except for the gentle hum of the ship's systems. Then, without warning, every console on the bridge lit up with activity. "Commander," Voss exclaimed, his energy form flickering rapidly. "I am detecting massive power surge from the structure." Through the viewport, the dark crystal flower began to glow. Soft blue light traced along its edges, and patterns of illumination flowed across its surface like water. The effect was beautiful and terrifying. Then a voice filled the bridge. It was not coming through their communication system, but seemed to emanate from the very air around them. "Greetings, daughter of Earth." Sarah felt her heart stop. The voice was speaking perfect English, with a slight accent she couldn't place. More importantly, it had specifically addressed her as human. "You can understand me," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have been waiting for your kind to find." Me, the voice replied warmly. I am Nexus, guardian and keeper of the final repository. I have maintained my vigil for over 2 million years, waiting for the descendants of the third seed to develop sufficient technology to reach this place. Dr. Zephyr attempted to communicate with the entity using his species' harmonic language. His crystal body rang with complex musical tones that normally could interface with any known artificial intelligence. But Nexus did not respond to him at all. KRIX tried next, using the clicking communication protocol of his people. Again, no response from the ancient structure. Engineer Voss projected various energy patterns that served as universal mathematical languages. Nothing. Why won't it talk to us? Crix asked, frustration clear in his clicking voice. Sarah looked at her alien friends and felt a growing sense of unease. Nexus, my companions are trying to communicate with you. They're brilliant scientists and explorers. Why don't you respond to them? I am designed to recognize only the neural patterns and vocal frequencies of your species, Nexus explained. The predecessors programmed me with specific parameters. Only humans can access my systems and knowledge. That's impossible, Dr. Zephyr chimed, his colors shifting to confused purple. Humans are one of the youngest spacefaring species in the galaxy. How could an ancient artifact be programmed specifically for them? But Nexus did not acknowledge the Altarian's words at all. Sarah was beginning to understand something that made her deeply uncomfortable. Nexus, are you saying that only humans can communicate with you? Correct. Your species carries the proper genetic markers and cognitive patterns. The others, while intelligent, lack the necessary resonance frequencies. What genetic markers? Sarah asked, though part of her already suspected the answer would be disturbing. The structure's glow intensified, and suddenly the bridge was filled with holographic displays. Sarah found herself looking at complex genetic charts and evolutionary trees that somehow she could read, even though they were written in symbols she had never seen before. The Third Seed Project was the most ambitious undertaking of the predecessors, Nexus explained. They identified a young species on a water world in a small spiral arm of the galaxy. Your ancestors showed promise, but needed guidance to reach their potential. Sarah studied the genetic information floating around her. She could see comparison charts between early human DNA and what appeared to be the same genetic code with subtle modifications. You're saying the predecessors altered human evolution. They provided gentle guidance, small changes to ensure your species would develop the cognitive flexibility and adaptive intelligence necessary for their ultimate purpose. Engineer Voss was frantically trying to record the holographic displays, but his instruments could not detect them at all. Commander, what are you seeing? Our sensors show nothing unusual. Sarah realized that only she could perceive Nexus's information systems. The isolation she felt was overwhelming. What was this ultimate purpose? Sarah asked. The holographic displays changed, showing star charts and galactic maps. Sarah could see vast migrations of civilizations, the rise and fall of great empires, and patterns of expansion across the galaxy that spanned millions of years. The predecessors were not the first great civilization in this galaxy, Nexus continued. They learned from those who came before, and they prepared for those who would come after. They saw that intelligence alone was not enough to survive the cycles of galactic change. What cycles? Every 47 million years, this galaxy faces a great trial. The last time, the predecessors themselves barely survived. They realized that the next trial would require a different kind of intelligence, a species capable of adapting quickly to impossible circumstances. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. And they chose humans for this. They prepared humans for this. Your species' unusual combination of curiosity, stubbornness, and ability to work together despite differences made you ideal candidates. Most intelligent species specialize, becoming very good at one or two things. Humans remain generalists, able to adapt to almost any situation. Navigator Crix was becoming increasingly agitated. "Commander, please tell us what is happening. We can hear your side of the conversation, but this is very disturbing." Sarah looked at her friends, these brilliant beings who had traveled with her across the galaxy, and felt a deep sadness. How could she explain that they were being excluded from the greatest discovery in galactic history? "Nexus," Sarah said carefully, "my companions are my friends. They've risked their lives alongside me countless times. Surely they deserve to know what you're telling me. They may observe and learn from your actions," Nexus replied, "but they cannot access the repository directly. The knowledge it contains is too dangerous for species that lack the proper psychological frameworks." What knowledge? The holographic displays changed again, showing technological designs and scientific principles that made Sarah's head spin. She could see blueprints for ships that could travel between galaxies, weapons capable of destroying stars, and technologies that seemed to manipulate the very fabric of space-time. The complete accumulated knowledge of 7 great galactic civilizations, Nexus said. Sciences and technologies that could transform your current society into something unimaginably advanced, but also knowledge that could destroy everything. If misused, Sarah stared at the incredible visions surrounding her. And this is all meant for humanity. For humanity to guard and use wisely when the next trial begins. When will that be? Nexus was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice carried a weight of urgency that made Sarah's blood run cold. "The signs have already begun to appear. Deep space monitoring stations have detected gravitational anomalies at the galactic rim. The trial will begin within your lifetime, Commander Chen. Humanity must be prepared." The truth unveiled. Sarah felt the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on her shoulders like a heavy cloak. Around her, the holographic displays showed increasingly complex technological blueprints and star charts that her human mind could somehow comprehend, even though the symbols were completely alien. "Show me everything," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the fear growing in her chest. The bridge of the Pathfinder transformed around her. What her alien crewmates saw as empty space became filled with vast libraries of knowledge for Sarah. She could see the history of the galaxy unfolding like pages in an infinite book. The first civilization arose 12 billion years ago, Nexus began, his voice taking on the cadence of a teacher. They were pure energy beings who transcended physical form. They built wonders that spanned entire star clusters, but they grew complacent when the devourers came from the dark between galaxies. The first civilization was unprepared. Sarah watched in horror as the holographic displays showed vast swarms of something that wasn't quite matter and wasn't quite energy consuming entire solar systems. The attackers moved like a plague across the galaxy, leaving nothing but empty space behind. The second civilization learned from the first's mistakes, Nexus continued. They became warriors, building weapons of incredible power and fleets that could shatter planets. But their focus on destruction made them lose their compassion. They destroyed themselves in civil wars before the next trial could begin. The images shifted to show massive battles between star-spanning civilizations, weapons that turned suns into bombs, and worlds cracking apart under the assault of their own defenders. The third, fourth, and fifth civilizations each had their strengths and weaknesses. Each left behind knowledge and warnings for those who came after. But it was the sixth civilization, the predecessors, who finally understood the pattern. Dr. Zephyr was attempting to take readings of Sarah's brain activity, his crystalline form humming with concern. "Commander, your neural patterns are showing extraordinary activity. Are you experiencing some form of technological interface?" Sarah nodded absently, too focused on Nexus's revelations to fully respond to her friend. She could see the predecessors now, tall beings who looked almost human, but with longer limbs and larger eyes. They moved with a grace that spoke of millions of years of evolution beyond anything Sarah could imagine. "The trials come in cycles," Nexus explained. "Every 47 million years, the dark between galaxies sends forth its agents. They take different forms each time, but their purpose is always the same: to consume intelligence and growth, leaving only empty space behind." "Why?" Sarah asked. "What's the point of such destruction?" "We never learned their true purpose. Perhaps they are a natural force, like entropy made manifest. Perhaps they serve some greater intelligence that sees organized matter as a threat." The predecessors spent millennia trying to understand, but could never find clear answers. Navigator Crix was becoming increasingly agitated, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "Commander Chen, you have been standing motionless for over an hour. We are concerned about your well-being." Engineer Voss had materialized closer to Sarah, his energy form crackling with worry. "I am detecting no harmful radiations or mental influences, but your biological signs are highly irregular." Sarah forced herself to acknowledge her friends. "I'm okay. Nexus is showing me the history of the galaxy. It's overwhelming, but I need to see all of it." "What is it showing you?" Dr. Zephyr asked, his colors shifting to worried orange. Sarah tried to explain what she was learning, but realized quickly that words were inadequate. "There have been 7 great galactic civilizations before ours. Each one was destroyed or nearly destroyed by something from outside the galaxy. The predecessors, the ones who built Nexus, they were the 6th civilization. They survived the last trial, but barely. And the 7th civilization?" Crix asked, though Sarah suspected he already knew the answer. "Us, all of us, the current galactic community represents the 7th great flowering of intelligence in this galaxy." The holographic displays around Sarah shifted to show the current state of galactic civilization. She could see the trade routes connecting thousands of worlds, the various species working together in the Galactic Council, the slow but steady expansion of knowledge and exploration that had been going on for millennia. The predecessors learned that survival required more than just advanced technology or military might. Nexus continued. It required adaptability, creativity, and the ability to unite different forms of intelligence. They searched for a species that could serve as a catalyst, bringing together the strengths of all galactic races. "And they chose humans," Sarah said, beginning to understand. "They prepared humans. Your species development was guided very carefully. The predecessors introduced genetic modifications that would enhance your problem-solving abilities, your capacity for empathy across species barriers, and your tendency to never give up when facing impossible odds." Sarah thought about human history, about all the times her species had faced extinction and somehow found a way to survive and thrive. She thought about humanity's rapid expansion into space, their unusual ability to form alliances with alien species, their knack for finding solutions that no one else had considered, We're not naturally this adaptable, are we? You are naturally adaptable, but the predecessors enhanced that natural tendency. They also encoded certain genetic markers that would allow your species to interface with their technology when the time came. The holographic displays showed Sarah DNA sequences and neural pathway diagrams. She could see the subtle differences between natural human development and what the predecessors had guided them to become. Every human carries these modifications, Nexus explained, but they are dormant until activated by contact with predecessor technology. You, Commander Chen, are now fully activated. You can access systems and knowledge that no other species in the galaxy can touch. Sarah felt a profound sense of isolation. She looked at her alien friends, these beings she had shared adventures with across dozens of worlds, and realized that she was now separated from them by more than just species differences. "This feels wrong," Sarah said. "I didn't ask for this. Responsibility. My friends deserve to be part of this." "Your friends will be essential to what comes next," Nexus assured her. "But they cannot carry the burden of direct access to predecessor knowledge. The psychological strain would destroy most non-human minds. You must serve as the bridge between their unique abilities and the knowledge necessary for survival." Dr. Zephyr approached Sarah carefully, his crystalline form glowing with gentle concern. "Commander, you have been our leader for 5 years. We trust your judgment completely. Whatever you are learning, we will support you." Engineer Voss crackled. "In agreement. The bonds between crew members transcend species barriers. Commander, we are with you." Navigator Crix clicked his mandibles in a pattern Sarah recognized as absolute loyalty. "You have led us through many dangers. We will follow you through this one as well." Sarah felt tears forming in her eyes. These beings were offering her their complete trust without even knowing what she was being asked to do. "Nexus," Sarah said, "what exactly are you asking of humanity? What is our role in the coming trial?" The holographic displays changed to show detailed tactical information, fleet compositions, and strategic plans that spanned thousands of star systems. "The dark tide has already begun to move," Nexus said gravely. "Long-range sensors detect the first scout forces entering the outer rim of the galaxy. The main invasion will begin within 20 years. Humanity must unite the galactic civilizations and prepare for a war unlike anything in recorded history." Sarah studied the tactical displays, her enhanced mind processing information at speeds she never could have imagined. She could see weak points in the galaxy's current defenses, potential alliance structures that might work, and technological developments that would be crucial for survival. The repository contains the complete military and scientific knowledge of 6 galactic civilizations, Nexus continued. Weapons, technologies, defensive systems, strategic doctrines, and, most importantly, the locations of other predecessor installations throughout the galaxy. Other installations, 47 repository sites, each containing specialized knowledge and equipment. Some are hidden within asteroids, others orbit gas giants, and a few are concealed within the cores of living worlds. All of them will respond only to human activation. Sarah realized she was looking at a galaxy-spanning network of ancient technology, all of it waiting for her species to claim it. The responsibility was staggering. "What if humanity isn't ready?" Sarah asked. "What if we make the wrong choices? Then this galaxy will join the others in silence," Nexus replied simply. "But the predecessors believed in your species' potential. They saw something in early humanity that convinced them to spend millions of years preparing for this moment, Sarah made her decision. She looked at her alien friends, these beings who had trusted her with their lives and were now trusting her with something far greater. "I accept," she said formally. "Humanity will take on this responsibility." The moment she spoke those words, Sarah felt a fundamental change in her mind. Information flowed into her consciousness, not just data, but understanding, wisdom, and purpose. She could sense the locations of the other repository sites, the steps needed to begin activating humanity's role as galactic guardians, and the terrible weight of what was coming. "The journey begins now," Nexus announced. "Commander Chen, you carry within you the hopes of 7 civilizations. Use that knowledge wisely." As the ancient structure began to power down, Sarah turned to her crew with new purpose burning in her eyes. The galaxy was about to change forever, and humanity would be at the center of that transformation. "Plot a course for Earth," she told. "Navigator Crix, we need to go home and begin preparations." "Preparations for what, Commander?" Dr. Zephyr asked. That Sarah looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them an ancient enemy was already moving toward everything she held dear. "For the fight of our lives," she said simply, "and for the survival of everyone we've ever cared about." The Pathfinder turned away from the ancient repository and began its long journey home, carrying with it the seeds of humanity's greatest challenge and perhaps its finest hour.